Solitary RPG celebrated its 1 year anniversary on YouTube, and we were contacted by Tower House Creative and sent product to give away. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to do a review of Bell Whispers, which is a new supplement, and then at the end of the video we're going to give away this product. So let's get into this. Welcome to Solitary RPG. Let's get the housekeeping stuff out of the way. Whenever you're sent product to review, you need to disclose that on your video. So I was sent a PDF copy of Bell Whispers to review. However, I was also sent physical product to give away. And at the end of the video, we're going to talk about how you can win these products if you're interested. For the video's sake, though, because I was only sent a PDF copy, I will be fondling the physical copy of Bell Whispers to talk about the book itself. But this will stay packaged because I have already purchased my own version of the D20 Fate Mill dice. So that's out of the way. So let's talk about what this is. If you're not familiar with the Fate Mill dice, let me put this to the side for right now. It's a D20 oracle with all kinds of different results from yes, yes and, no, maybe, maybe and. It's just a D20 oracle, but it's really cool because it's big, it's chunky, and this is a huge improvement from the original one. The original Fate D20 Fate Mill dice was a regular D20 size. And it was good, but old guys like me couldn't really see the dice. It was only meant for that younger generation with good eyesight. But anyway, so it was improved upon, and it's an awesome oracle if you're looking for a D20 oracle. And for me, one of the things I like to do is I'm not married to one particular oracle. I like to use oracles that match the dice mechanic for the game I'm playing. And this is just a good D20 oracle for that. When you purchase it through the Etsy shop, link in the description below. What's awesome about it is the Tower House Creative will give you a sticker, and I love stickers. Plus, there's some instructional information in here, a little story, things like that. So it's really great packaging. So if you're interested, check the link below for that. When I did the review for the Fate Mill dice, I was contacted by Tower House Creative and asked if I wanted to take part in a giveaway of some product. At the time, I was like, sure, I'd be interested, but it was during the holidays. I said, let's talk about it after the holidays. Then after the holidays, some life stuff got in the way, and I kind of changed directions a little bit. And I just never reached out, never got back to them. Well, the book finally came out, Bell Whispers, which is a product we were talking about. And I was sent a PDF copy of it to review. I took a look at it. I really liked it. So I was like, okay, I will do the review and I will do the giveaway. I am not a giveaway channel, though. I don't do this on a regular basis. So this is all new to me. We will, at the end of the video, talk about how you can win this product if you are interested. But just like the D20 Fate Mill dice, you're going to get a cool sticker. So this is a sticker of a door that I will talk about when we get to it in the actual book. You're going to get this really cool, like, typed out story. I'm not going to read it because this is for you to discover if you purchase the book or if you win the free copy. So this is just a nice touch. This is what I like about indie product producers. They go a little bit above and beyond to offer a little bit more than just the book. So stickers are always cool, and I love their stickers because they get printing on the back that kind of gives you a little bit more information about the company, Tower House Creative, and the now I just revealed it. It's called the Infinity Door. And that's what this is called. But a little bit of text, and it's just really cool. So what exactly is Bell Whispers? Well, the title doesn't really tell you what it is. It kind of makes you feel like it might be an adventure or a story. But what it really is, it's like a GM journal. It's like a lot of thoughts and ideas that you can use as a game master for creating your adventures. When I got done reading it, I felt it was like a smaller version of the Tome of Adventure Design, because there's a lot of little tools in here to help you get an adventure off the ground. The physical book is fantastic. It's a thick cardstock cover. The art on it is awesome. I love the kind of blue ink, black lining kind of art. It's just very cool. And the pages are glossy, very durable. It is staple bound in the middle. You can see the staples there. And it's just a really good book. So since this is the giveaway copy, I don't want to fondle it too much. And I want to push this to the side. And we're going to thumb through the PDF copy that I printed off. As I said earlier, the title doesn't really tell you what this is. This is kind of one of those books you need to open up and explore to go, oh, now I see what it is. But Bell Whisper, this concept of a bell tower, is an underlining theme kind of through the marketing and some of the story information that's inside of here. TowerHouseCreative.com is where you can find it. You're going to be linked to the Etsy site. This book is selling for $20, which isn't a bad price for what you're getting. It's a nice little zine. You get a cool sticker, a cool backstory. It's just another one of those tools you can put in your toolbox, put it in the stack of other tools that you use for playing your games, and pull it out when you need it. The Fate Mill dice, this sells for $25. Again, for the size of the dice you're getting, if this was just a regular D20, it'd probably be $7 or $8. But because you've got this Oracle built into it, it's a little bit more, but it's a cool tool. I've done a review on it. I'll put a link to the previous review in the comments if you're interested in checking it out. So we kind of dive into it. You get your standard, what's going on, a little bit of just like what this is. This is a system agnostic issue about adventure starters, the Infinity Door, which is a dungeon generation, and that's what the sticker is the Infinity Door. 5 D100 tables and other tools and thoughts. The thoughts part is kind of cool because this is kind of the, Tower House Creative is an individual. His name is Elton. And this is some of his thoughts about gaming and some things you should think about when playing games. So it was good stuff to read. The PDF copy has this page in it talking about how everything is hyperlinked and gives you kind of information about how you can get around. It is not in the printed copy, which was really neat that they actually took the time out to add this to just the PDF copy. But it just gives you the instructions of how everything is hyperlinked. Then we're going to kind of flip over. This is just a really neat story about why it's called the Bell Whispers. It's all about the bell, and I like how this text is swinging back and forth to represent a bell swinging back and forth, and this is kind of what the bell is whispering. It's just a neat little story. You could actually use this for an adventure. It'd probably be something more modern, maybe a Call of Cthulhu 20s, because it's talking about a wax cylinder, which is an old way of doing recordings. So you could actually use this in kind of a pulpy setting. It would be really neat. But this gives you an adventure starter, and then this kind of sets the tone for the rest of the book. This is all about getting an adventure started and information you can use to do that. You get an introduction. One of the things I really like about what the author is presenting here is this mindset ready to adventure. This is just a really basic idea, but sometimes we forget about it. We get so wrapped up into having to have everything kind of ready to go, and this really tells you just step back and just have the mindset ready to go for the adventure, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to that section. Then we're going to come to the table of contents. This is a 48-page zine. These are all the different things that they're going to cover. We're going to talk about the adventure starter. We're going to talk about the Infinity Door, which is the dungeon generator. And then we got some different tables that are in here. These are just really cool tables. We have oddities and obstacles, hateful hallways, which is, I really like the hateful hallway table. Sometimes hallways can be boring. Why not make them hateful? collection of curiosities, notable character features, and creature irregularities. So this is just some more tables to add to your collection. And then we're going to get into the journey beyond the generic. These are some of the thoughts and philosophies that the creator has lived by. This is how they generate their adventures, and some good tips and tricks in there. And then you got this little bonus NPC concept blender, which I like the term blender for this, because you're really, when you're creating NPCs, you're just taking a bunch of random stuff and trying to make something out of it. So just a neat visual to think of that as a blender. And then talk about the 35 millimeter D20 Fate Mill dice, which again I've already raved about enough. And then we're going to start with the adventure starters. So what is this? This is a D12 roll, and then you turn to a page and you read an adventure starter. This is no different than what some of the stuff that Geek Gamer has done with the Wanderings, but taking parts from novels to help you spark an adventure starter. Same thing here. We have 12 different adventure starters that you can read, a little bit of art to give you some visual appeal to what you're reading. And what's neat about all of these is there's a question at the end, so you can almost imagine these are being read from a GM's perspective. And then they ask a question. Is the town deserted? Do you smell something? Like, there's little questions just to get that adventure to that next, to kick it off, get you going, get you moving in the right direction. But yeah, that's all these are. Is you got 12 of them, and they've added some art to just give you some visual appeal. This one is kind of funny because it's like a cheese cave. I just thought it was neat. So now we come to the Infinity Door, the dungeon generator. This is a little bit more than just a dungeon generator. This is more of an adventure starter, and tied into it is a dungeon generator. So all the information on these first couple of pages explain kind of how to use this, but the big part is this first part here, talking about approach this tool with the adventurer's mindset. So it kind of gives you the author's idea of what the adventurer's mindset is. A mindset comfortable with not knowing what's behind the door, but willing to open it, always checking for traps, and deal with what's on the other side. And that's kind of what solo gaming is all about. Like, no one knows what's on the other side of the door except the dice when you roll for them, or the chart that you're using. And that's what an adventurer's mindset is. Very cool advice. This is worth the cost of admission. Just understanding what the author is getting across with the adventurer's mindset, and that is kind of sprinkled throughout this book. But one of the things you have to use when you're rolling on the charts in this book, and you can also do this when you're just playing in general, but you always asking yourself questions like, why is fill in the blank? How come? What does? It just really helps you keep your story going. Instead of just relying on charts and tables, ask yourself these questions, because sometimes you might be asking yourself these questions and you already have the answer, and you don't need to roll on anything. If you have the answer, just move forward. And that's good advice that people should consider when playing their games. Don't need an oracle for everything. Sometimes you are your best oracle because you're in this moment and you're having fun, and that's what's important when you're gaming. Then we get into the steps. So there's a couple steps you want to follow. Talks about focusing on the narrative and the characters, and give you some charts to roll on and some information. Once you have your backstory, you kind of move on from there. Here's a piece of art of the Infinity Door. And then we go on to step 2. Every adventure needs to have a conclusion. So yeah, I'm going to jump through this dungeon, but why am I jumping through this dungeon? What am I trying to accomplish? So we got our backstory, and our backstory may only be a few spark words, maybe a sentence that we came up with those spark words, but it's not a big narrative story. So you got to start asking yourself some questions and framing those questions of the who, what, where, when, how, and all that kind of stuff, which for me comes naturally because I do this at work all day writing reports. But here it kind of just goes over that and gives you some more information to think about. and to add into your story. Then we come into just a sample dungeon generator of rolling on the tables, which we'll go over, and then how you can take those results for your backstory and create it into your framing questions to create your adventure. It's just neat stuff. It's very helpful. And then here we get into the dungeon generating part itself. There's a couple steps you're going to follow. The first one is, I really like this first step here. There's more than one way into a dungeon, so it's just kind of cool. You might want to think about other entrances instead of the main entrance that everybody would naturally go through. So just a neat little concept. But you got some tables and charts. It kind of goes over it. Then we're going to come here to some more useful thoughts, tips, and ideas. I like how the author grayed this out. These are just the author's philosophy and some information. The first one, go with your gut. We hear that so much in gaming, especially solo gaming. Just go with your gut. You don't, if you know the answer, like we talked about earlier, just go with it. So a lot of this information isn't new if you've been in the solo gaming world for a while or just gaming in general. You might have heard other people talk about these things. It's just nice to read it again. And you can see I was writing notes. I was kind of using the generators as a sample, just messing around with them, just having some fun with the process. And it was fun stuff. And now we're going to get into the actual tables. So this is kind of how you start generating everything. First, you need your reason. Why are you doing this? Why are you risking your life to go into a dungeon to find anything? And you just have some basic stuff, very trope type fantasy setting stuff. But yeah, roll, go. This is our big overarching story. This is our main threat, our reason for doing what we're doing. And then we come up here, the season. This is kind of neat. A lot of adventure generators don't usually include this season. And here you got a little D20 chart that you can roll for the season, and thinking about the season itself as having an effect on the game, maybe adding to that opening line for your adventure. If you roll early summer, okay, so you can actually write, it's early summer, depending on the climate you're in. Maybe the rivers are flowing better because the snow melt and things like that. Animals are more active because, winter, they're pretty much isolated. So you can add some of that narrative vibe to your opening thing just to set the mood, set the tone. But it also could have some huge effects on why your evil is taking place, and maybe it's a seasonal thing, so you can add that into it. So the dungeon theme, if you think about a dungeon, there should be some sort of a theme to the dungeon about where it's at, what's going on with it, so that you can add those sense features to it, like the touch of the ground or the smell or things that are affecting your senses based on where the dungeon is at, what it's themed like. So just some good stuff to add to your story. And then we got like a sound level and a light level. These are some D12s. Just again, these are just little details. We're not generating rooms yet. All we're generating so far is just what our story is, what our dungeon's going to be like. Now we get into the actual dungeon generation. And the instructions are pretty straightforward. If 1 through 12 is rolled and the path distance rolled is 7 or more, roll on table 8 and consider a roll on table 10. If 13 through 20 is rolled, roll on table 9 if necessary, then 7 and 10 as directed. So you have some instructions here, and basically 1 through 12 are paths, 13 through 20 are rooms, and then there's some additional information in here. And then you get into more descriptive information for these. So table 7, this is room features, so trash, junk heap, just some little spark words so you can kind of describe the room a little bit. Table 8 here is additional doors. So, you go into a room, are there additional doors? Then you got door state. Is it trapped? Is it locked? Is it closed? Is it open? These are just little dungeon generation things that we're used to, generating dungeons. Is the room inhabited? You know, we have a monster, a trap, nothing significant, items, treasure. So D12 roll. Difficulty rating for what's in the room. You know, deadly, hard, medium, easy. Just real simple rolls that we can use to generate our dungeon. And you have strange rooms, which is always kind of cool, just having some unique rooms. This is table 12. And then we've got other D100 tables. So that was all the dungeon generation stuff. Pretty straightforward, especially if you're familiar with dungeon generation. But having all this information in a zine, easily accessible to you. It's not like you're pulling out Tome of Adventure or some of the other larger books. This is just easy, accessible information. I like this idea here. You know, collect your own stuff, make your own tables, do your own thing. I see this as the creator's personal GM's guide or their personal GM journal that they've been collecting ideas and thoughts and just writing them into a journal. And this is their go-to place for whenever they have something they want to do in their games or generate a dungeon or get a game up and going. This is what they use. That's kind of how I see it. What we're talking about here is the same thing. Kind of create your own ideas, create your own journal, do your own thing. I like it. Just neat stuff. It's just some little ideas that you can use. I wrote something here about Tome of Adventure because I like what Tome of Adventure did with the little spark words on the side. And that's what they're talking about here, is to make a journal of interesting words and phrases you find elsewhere in life and just have them in a journal to refer to when you need them. So that's what this is. It's just some really helpful tips for you to start collecting your own information and creating your own journal. And then we're going to get into the random D100 tables. So we have this first one. It's oddities and obstacles. It's a D100. Every result is just one item. It's not like they're doubled up numbers, so you're getting true D100 charts. And there's just D100 oddities. It just kind of keeps going because this is a zine. And so these tables are, a couple pages long, which is fine. You can flip through them relatively quickly. And then the next one we're going to get are your hateful hallways. I really like this table because sometimes hallways can be boring, not very exciting. So this just gives you some things to add into your hallways, which is always fun. So then we just kind of go on with the hateful hallways. And then after hateful hallways, collected curiosities. So these are just your odd and ends, things that you find, like just oddities. This could actually be kind of maybe trinkets if you wanted to look at it from a trinket standpoint, maybe that your PCs have in their possession, and it's just something that they're fond of, and it's linked to some sort of memory from another part of their lives. But there's just neat stuff. Some of them are very unique, but yeah, something to add to your game sessions. And then the next one are going to be like noticeable character features. So these are going to be like little things about the physical appearance of maybe your PCs or NPCs. You can use it either way. And this is one of those tables you might want to roll on a few different times to just come up with a few features to describe. I wouldn't get too carried away. 3 maybe at max. But yeah, you just got some notable character features that you can use, and then you have a D100 chart for creature irregularities, something unique about a creature that you've come in contact with. So these are just good spark words to help you better describe PCs and creatures. And you could take some of these creature features and add them to a person. Nothing saying you can't do that. Might be odd to see a person with a beak, but maybe the beak is a costume that they wear. You can be creative. Then we come here to an article written by the author, A Journey Beyond the Generic. And what the author is doing is sharing ideas and philosophies about gaming and just giving you little pieces of information that you can ponder upon and think about for your games and for your gaming. And it's just good information. It's about 3 pages long, and it's just got a lot of information in it that you might find useful. I made some notes and highlighted a bunch of stuff because I found it fascinating, and I found there was actually really good information in here. I love the idea, and this isn't a new concept, but he starts talking about the senses, using your senses. So, sight, smell, hearing, taste, your basic senses that we don't think too much about. And I've read this in other books as well. I think it was the DM Yourself books that I read talking about pick a few senses that can be affected by the scene and talk about those to describe your setting, to describe what's around you. Just reiterating that information. So then here we come to some simplified steps, kind of going over everything that was talked about in this article. The one that really stood out to me was step number 3, which is once you've created your adventure or your dungeon and you're ready to go, take a moment, sit down, and just think about it. Immerse yourself in the world, in the setting, writing yourself some notes, but touching stuff and thinking about stuff like we're at the entrance of the dungeon. What do we smell? What do we see? How's the ground? Like, think about these things and just write yourself some descriptive information about the adventure and about the area and about what you're gonna go into, because you themed your dungeon. You're gonna want to make sure you have a list prepared that matches your theme, so that way when you're rolling on your list, you have something related and you're not getting something completely left field, oddball. Like if you're in a desert dungeon, all of a sudden there's a big icicle. Like, you want to try to theme it a little bit, have your list prepared, and that's talked about in all this, creating your list. And so it's just neat. It's just like, take a moment before you start your adventure to really think about it. Good information. And then the last thing we're going to get into is some bonus material. It's the NPC concept blender. I still love how he called this a blender, because that's really what we do as solo gamers. Is we take information we get from Oracle rolls, charts, and tables, and we just throw it in a big blender, and we press blend, and then we come up with something. And that's really what we're doing here. So some steps that you're going to want to follow to create your NPC, your monster, your villain. That's all it is. But what's neat about this blender concept is it's really going through all of the charts that were used from the Infinity Door about your dungeon creator and your adventure creator, and just repurposing them for another thing. And it's just a neat concept that, look, your tables, your charts, the things that you have, even though you got, the hateful hallways, can you use that information to also help describe an NPC or a monster? And that's kind of what's going on here, taking some of those charts, repurposing them to help you with this NPC generator. And then you got these 3x5 cards, which is one of the things talked about here, about just having your information kind of filled out and ready to go. So that way when you need it, you can just pull it. Again, all of this was created by Tower House Creative. I will put links in the description below for this information. And that was kind of a review of Bell Whispers. It's not terribly expensive at $20. Obviously, you probably got to pay shipping depending on where you live. But what you get for that $20 is more tools for your toolbox. And as solo gamers, that's really what we need, is some tools, some ideas that can help us with our gaming on the spur of the moment. And that's what this is. I like the size of it, because this can be a cool little tool you can take with you on the go, especially if you travel and you're on a business work trip or on vacation and you want to take a little bit of time maybe to just write in a journal and create an adventure or create something. This would be the book to use for that. Also, you get a cool sticker. Like, how can you go wrong with a cool sticker? And then you got this little story here. That's kind of what this book is for, is helping you create an adventure, get you off the ground, and get you running. So how are we going to give this stuff away? I've thought long and hard about, even if I ever wanted to give anything away on this channel, I don't want to be one of those channels that gets known for freebie stuff. I don't like that. But I do believe in this product. So like, I bought the Fate Mill D20 without solicitation because I believed in the product. I wasn't initially going to do any kind of reviews or giveaways, but when I read the book, I liked what I read. So this is why I'm doing it, because I believe in what the content creators are making here and feel that this is a good product. So how are we going to give this away? Well, there's got to be rules to give away. The first rule is you have to live within the continental United States. I have to pay for shipping. Shipping can get expensive outside of the United States, so it has to be within the continental United States. And all you got to do is send me an email. And in the email, in the subject line, write Bell Whispers. This way I know people are paying attention to the instructions. So subject line, Bell Whispers. I will take everybody that sends me an email, put all those names in a hat. I will pull a name, and that is who's going to win all this stuff. And to sweeten the pot, I'm also going to throw in a couple of the Solitaire RPG Orchid stickers that I've had made for random reasons. I like making stickers. I have lots of different stickers. But yeah, I'll throw in a couple of my stickers as well, just to sweeten that pot a little bit. But anyways, yeah, that's it. Live within the continental United States. Send me an email, subject line Bell Whispers. Next Friday, April 7th, I will pull a name, and on the community page, I will announce who won the product, and then via email, we will communicate to get the product shipped out to you. So anyways, thank you for 1 year of enjoyment being on YouTube. It has been a very positive experience for myself, and I've just been having a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy the content that I've provided. And let's look forward to another year of fun with solo gaming. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.